Welcome back to Narrations. Tonight, we revisit a story that feels like coming home, a story of sisters, of growing up, of finding beauty in the ordinary and courage in the everyday. It's about love and loss, laughter and learning, and the moments that make life meaningful. This is Little Women, 1994, a timeless tale about family, dreams, and the gentle strength of the human heart. It begins during a snowy New England winter, sometime in the 1860s. The March sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, live in a small, cozy home with their loving mother, Marmee, while their father serves as a chaplain in the Civil War. Money is scarce, but warmth fills every corner of the house. The girls share everything: clothes, secrets, and dreams, even when their hands are cold and their stomachs are empty. On Christmas morning, they gather around the fire with excitement and gratitude. Jo, the second eldest, wild-haired and fiercely independent, reads a letter from their father aloud. His words remind them to stay strong, to be kind, to be good, even when life feels unfair. The girls nod solemnly, determined to make him proud. Marmee surprises them with a modest breakfast: tea, bread, and sausage, but before they can eat, she tells them that a nearby family, the Hummels, are starving. Without hesitation, the girls wrap up their breakfast and carry it through the snow to share with the poor family. Their kindness fills the air with something warmer than food: compassion. That night, when they return home, they find an unexpected surprise. Their wealthy neighbor, Mr. Lawrence, has sent them a feast in gratitude for their good deed. The girls laugh, dance, and sing, filling the house with light. It's the kind of joy that doesn't come from money, but from the heart. Each sister has her own fire. Meg, the eldest, dreams of refinement, of dresses and dances, though her heart is gentle and humble. Jo, the writer, dreams of independence, of living on her own terms, creating stories that matter. Beth, the quiet one, dreams of peace, her happiness found in small things, in music, in love freely given. Amy, the youngest, dreams of beauty, of art, fame, and someday Paris. They are different, yet bound by something stronger than blood, a shared love that makes even the hardest winters bearable. Their next-door neighbor, Laurie, a spirited boy raised by his wealthy grandfather, soon becomes part of their world. Jo meets him first, after sneaking into a neighborhood Christmas ball wearing one of Meg's dresses. She's clumsy, outspoken, nothing like the refined young ladies around her, but Laurie finds her captivating. They strike up a friendship instantly, built on laughter and mischief. From that day, Laurie becomes their honorary brother, helping with snowball fights, listening to Jo's stories, and sitting at their kitchen table as though he's always belonged there. Mr. Lawrence, his grandfather, watches with quiet fondness. He lost his own daughter years ago, and something about Beth, gentle and musical, reminds him of her. When Beth plays piano for him, he listens in silence, tears glinting in his eyes. Seasons change, and the girls grow. Meg attends elegant parties with her friend Sally, tasting the world of wealth she's always admired. Jo begins selling her stories to local papers, sneaking her earnings to Marmee with pride. Amy practices painting and writing poetry, convinced she'll be famous one day. And Beth, sweet Beth, stays home, caring for everyone, keeping the house filled with calm. One day, a letter arrives. Their father has fallen ill at the front. Marmee must travel to care for him. The girls are heartbroken but determined. Jo cuts off her long hair, her one beauty, as Amy calls it, and sells it to buy her mother's train ticket. The next morning, Marmee leaves, kissing them all goodbye, her eyes filled with both fear and faith. Days pass slowly. The sisters hold the house together, missing her warmth, trying to be brave. Then Beth falls ill after visiting the Hummel family, who've been struck by scarlet fever. Jo and Meg nurse her tirelessly, praying through the night. Amy, sent away to stay safe, cries herself to sleep each night, terrified she'll never see her sister again. For days the fever burns. Jo never leaves Beth's side, reading to her, cooling her forehead, whispering that everything will be all right. And then, one morning, the fever breaks. Beth opens her eyes and smiles faintly. Jo bursts into tears, laughing and crying at once. "You're going to be fine," she says. It's a small miracle. When Marmee returns, the house is full of laughter again. Even Mr. Lawrence, so often stern, comes bearing gifts. He gives Beth his late daughter's piano, a beautiful gesture that moves her beyond words. She thanks him softly, saying, "I shall take such care of it." Christmas comes again, and this time, their father is home. The family gathers by the fire, together, safe, and full of gratitude. They have little, but they have each other. And for the Marches, that is everything. But time never stands still. The girls are growing up, and life is waiting, with all its love, heartbreak, and change. Meg is courted by John Brooke, Laurie's tutor, a kind man with a gentle smile and a modest income. Joe, fiercely protective, worries that Meg will lose her freedom. "We're meant to stay together," Joe says. "Sisters forever." But Meg smiles sadly. "Just because my dreams are different doesn't mean they're less important." Beth's health never fully returns. She grows paler, weaker, but her spirit remains bright. Amy continues her studies, more determined than ever to see the world. And Joe dreams bigger than all of them. She's writing, selling stories, and dreaming of moving to New York to chase her destiny. Laurie, now deeply in love with her, confesses his feelings. He proposes, his voice trembling with sincerity. But Joe shakes her head, tears in her eyes. "I can't," she whispers. "I love you, but not the way you want me to." It's a painful moment, for both of them. Laurie is heartbroken, but Joe knows her heart is telling the truth. She isn't meant to be someone's wife, not yet. She's meant to find her own path, her own story. As Laurie leaves, Joe watches from the window, feeling the weight of her choice. She's free, but freedom can be lonely. And soon, even home won't stay the same. Because change always comes, softly, like the turning of the seasons. Time has passed, and the little women are not so little anymore. The March sisters have grown, each taking their own path, some toward love, some toward loss, and all toward understanding what it means to truly live. Meg, the eldest, is now married to John Brooke. Their small house is filled with laughter, chaos, and love. They don't have much, but their happiness feels rich and real. Joe visits often, helping with the children, teasing Meg for her domestic patience. But deep down, she admires her sister's quiet contentment, even if she doesn't understand it. Amy has become a young woman of poise and ambition. Her art has improved, and her confidence too. Aunt March, impressed by her refinement, decides to take Amy with her to Europe, something Joe had always dreamed of. Though she tries to smile when she hears the news, her heart sinks. It feels like the world is moving forward without her. Beth, still fragile, grows weaker with every season. She never complains, never asks for more time, she simply lives gently, cherishing every small joy. Her piano, her cat, her family's laughter, these are her world. Joe notices the change in her sister's complexion, the soft tremor in her hands, but refuses to believe what her heart already knows. One morning, Joe wakes to find Beth gone from her bed. Panic fills her chest, until she sees her sitting by the window, wrapped in a shawl, watching the sunrise. "I'm just enjoying it," Beth whispers. "Every morning is a gift." Later that year, Joe leaves for New York, determined to chase her dream of writing. She rents a small room and begins selling stories to magazines, thrilling tales of love and adventure. They bring money, but not fulfillment. She wonders if her words have lost their heart. In the city, she meets Professor Friedrich Baer, a kind, thoughtful man who loves books, music, and quiet conversation. He reads her stories and gently tells her the truth, that she's capable of more. "You are too strong and too honest to waste your talent on such things," he says softly. Joe bristles at first, but his words stay with her. Beneath the criticism, she feels something genuine, respect, admiration, perhaps something deeper. Back home, things are changing again. Amy, in Europe, has grown close to Laurie, the same Laurie who once proposed to Joe. Time has softened them both, and when he sees her painting by the river, he finally realizes what he's been searching for: peace. Amy, now graceful and wise, accepts his love not as Joe's shadow, but as her own light. When Joe receives the letter announcing their engagement, her emotions are tangled: surprise, happiness, and a quiet ache she can't name. She knows Lori will always be part of their family, but in a different way now. Then comes the letter she's been dreading: Beth is failing fast. Joe drops everything and rushes home. When she arrives, Beth's room is filled with sunlight, her mother by her side. She's pale but smiling, her voice a whisper of the girl she once was. Joe lies beside her, holding her hand. They talk about childhood, about playing pilgrims, about pretending to be soldiers, about the stories they wrote and the songs they sang. Beth tells her that she isn't afraid. "You'll tell the stories for both of us," she says. And when the morning comes, Joe wakes to silence. Beth is gone. The house feels emptier, quieter. Even the piano seems to wait for her touch. Joe sits by the window Beth loved and begins to write again, not for money, not for fame, but for memory. Her pen moves across the pages like breath, telling the story of her family, of her sisters, of everything that made her who she is. Seasons pass. Joe's book is finished. She titles it simply, Little Women. When Aunt March passes away, she leaves her grand old house to Joe, the very home where Joe once felt unwelcome. Instead of keeping it for herself, Joe turns it into a school, a place for children who don't have one. Lori and Amy visit often, bringing laughter. Meg's children run through the halls. Marmee sits by the fire, proud beyond words. And then, one afternoon, as Joe works in the garden, she looks up to see a familiar figure walking toward her. Professor Bear stands at the gate, holding a worn copy of her book. He's come to tell her how much it meant to him, how it reminded him of kindness, of family, of her. The air between them feels full of possibility. They walk together, talking softly, the way people do when something unspoken fills the space between words. When rain begins to fall, Joe holds out her umbrella, and in that quiet, gentle moment, love finds her. Not the love of fairy tales or novels, but something real. The final scene returns to the March home, filled with people and laughter again. It's Joe's birthday. The girls' voices echo through the house, Amy with Lori, Meg with John, and Marmee surrounded by her grandchildren. Joe stands in the doorway, watching, smiling. She's not the restless girl she once was. She's something better, a woman who has lived, loved, lost, and found her place. As the family gathers around the table, Joe places her hand on the finished copy of her book, her story, their story. She looks out the window, where the sun is setting golden over the hills, and whispers to herself, "I could never love anyone as I love my sisters." The music swells softly, warm and tender. The March family's laughter fills the air one last time, a song of memory and gratitude. And that's Little Women, 1994, a story about the courage to grow, the strength to let go, and the beauty of a life built on love, compassion, and family. Because sometimes, home isn't just a place. It's the people who make your heart feel full, no matter where you go. If you enjoyed this narration, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Narrations, where every story feels like coming home.